Hi everybody, welcome back. It's going to be quite a short lecture today. We're just going to look at some bits of advice for how you can practice effectively when you study alone. So how to make the most of your self-study time. We're going to look at some do's and don'ts, and we're going to start by looking at the don'ts, the do nots. So here are the things I recommend that you avoid. Do not study with distractions. Make sure you are closing down your internet access. Don't have Facebook open, don't have Twitter open. If you have a mobile phone, turn it on silent, turn it off maybe. So make sure you study without distractions so that you can remain focused. Don't be too self-critical. Don't beat yourself up for making mistakes. Mistakes will happen. They're inevitable. If you weren't willing to make mistakes, you wouldn't have taken this exam. Okay? So mistakes are a good thing. They allow you to learn. Just learn from the mistakes and try to avoid them next time, but don't beat yourself up about them. Don't sit around waiting for miracles to happen. It's very important that you use the advice in these videos and apply it to your study. Don't just watch the videos and imagine that on the day you're going to magically create an amazing essay. You need to use what is in these videos and apply it to your self-study practice. Don't study alone. Yeah, it's good to study alone sometimes, but if possible, try to find yourself a study partner. You can motivate one another. You can make comments on one another's work. You know, your study partner might be able to recognize when you've made a mistake, when you can't recognize it. So very useful to study with a friend as well as alone. Don't forget about timing. We've mentioned this before. I recommend that you study with a clock, study without a clock. Study with time limits and study without time limits. But make sure you don't forget about timing. Otherwise, you're going to struggle in the exam to hit that 40-minute time limit. Don't ignore your health, your sleep, or your diet. It's very important that you stay healthy. A healthy mind is a healthy body. Healthy body is a healthy mind. So if you have a healthy mind, then you're going to apply yourself to your self-study with much more focus, and that's what we want to see. Finally, do not overwork yourself. This is kind of related. Make sure that you are getting enough sleep. Try not to work for any more than 2 to 3 hours a day. Like, the more you do past that point, it's just going to be detrimental, because I think you can burn yourself out if you work too hard. So don't overwork yourself either. So try to avoid being like this little guy on the right here. He's obviously caught himself in the cycle of distractions that you can sometimes find yourself in when you're on sites like YouTube and you're just scrolling through all those different videos. So make sure that you are being productive with your time. Now this is interesting. This little image on the right here is by a comic called The Oatmeal, theoatmeal.com. And funnily enough, there are some excellent grammar references on this website. If you're not sure how to use semicolons, go there. If you're not sure how to use the expression IE, you should go there. If you're not sure how to use apostrophes, also talks about that on the website. So although it looks a little bit funny, it's actually a very good reference source for certain grammar and punctuation points. Let's move on to the do's. So I recommend that you do shut down all distractions. Now, there's an excellent app called Freedom. You just search into Google, Freedom app, and this Freedom app will completely shut down all internet access for you for a specific amount of time that you set, and there's no way that you can turn it back on. However badly you want it, you will not be able to turn the internet back on until that time has passed. So it's a very good way to avoid all distractions. Make sure you practice in different ways, as I said, with a clock, without a clock, with time limits, without time limits, alone, with a friend. Study task 1, then task 2, maybe then task 2 and then task 1 in different orders. Study different parts of the essay, the introduction, the conclusion, the body, but make sure that your study is varied so it doesn't become boring and monotonous. As I said there, make sure you study alone and with a friend so you can motivate one another and check each other's work. Reward yourself. It's very important that you feel good about studying, that you don't just think of it as something boring and tedious, but that you have something to look forward to at the end of it, perhaps. So reward yourself maybe with a movie, or with ice cream, or whatever you fancy. Make sure you take breaks. It's very important that you take at least a few minutes every once in a while when you're working. There's a very good technique called I think it's called the Pomodoro technique. And basically what that is you study for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And then you study for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. So you're working for like 50 minutes out of every hour, which is a pretty great rate, and it can help you to keep going and keep going. I've mentioned it many times during this course, but make sure you read and read some more, a variety of different materials on a variety of different topics. This will help you to see the patterns in English and just help you to improve your confidence as well. And lastly, get guidance. We're going to talk about this in a bit more detail in the next lecture, but yeah, very important that you get guidance. All of this is designed to help you stay focused. It's all about focus when you are studying. You need to get in the zone, in the flow. Now, all of these do's and don'ts will help you to do that. As I mentioned, we're going to look at getting guidance in the next lecture. And in that lecture, I'm going to show you perhaps the best form of guidance that you could possibly get in your preparation for IELTS. So I'll see you in the next lecture.